Storyteller.com.
No.
Anyway, many years ago, when we told you a while ago how valuable women were and are still in Cherokee culture, many years ago there was a young man who was given the task by his wife to go out and get venison for his mother-in-law, her mother. And Agilishi is the most important grandmother in the Cherokee culture because that's on the mother's side. And they sort of make fun of the other one on the father's side. And it's Aginishi, and Agilishi is the most important one. And so he was out in the forest looking for a deer and doing the best he could, and hadn't found one yet, and it was about lunchtime, and so he knew he could find one before it got dark, and all of a sudden he heard a voice deep down in the ravine yelling for help. Went over to the edge and he looked down, and one of his cousins was down in the bottom with evidently a broken leg. So he went down and he got him out. He carried him 10 miles back to his village because he was really hurt. And by the time he got back to the place where he was hunting, and the forest looked like this, and he knew there was no way he could make it through the woods and find a deer. So he went back to his village, and he was driving back to the village just before dark, and his wife saw him coming empty-handed, and she was so angry that she went running off through the woods that night. And he tried to go catch her, but she just ran off and left him. So he just sort of sat down and he prayed to the Great Spirit and said, "Slow her down, Great Spirit, and I can catch up to her and explain to her what happened." So the next morning he awakened and he got up again. He started out, and the Great Spirit had put the serviceberry trees in front of her. And so she didn't even look up. She didn't see him. She just kept on running in anger. And so next he put the blackberry blossoms out in front on the briars and thought that would slow her down, but she just tore through the blackberry briars and continued on. He said, "I got to do something that'll really slow her down." So he put this little plant right in the trail, right low on the ground. And then she began to step on something squishy and began to smell and look down the little white flowers and smell this wonderful aroma. So she picked up one of those big red fruit and she tasted it. Tasted so good that she sat down in the middle of that little patch and she began to pick them and eat them. So much time passed that her husband caught up with her and explained to her what had really happened. And she was sorry and she forgave him. And so the Cherokees say that's how that God created strawberries. And every time that we get angry and we start to really go after someone that we're not really sure, positively sure, that they did what we think they did, that we should think of something beautiful and think of the strawberries instead of going out after them right now. So then you won't have to apologize. They didn't do what you think they did.